Hello, guys and girls, and finally, we are moving forward to our next topic in my Python series for beginners 2026 control flows, if, elif, and else statements. Okay, let's get started. So, if you look at my text editor, I'm working with PyCharm as usual for this tutorial. So, if you look at my text editors, you see a few notes of the things we're going to be doing in this series. Control flow, if, and it's not much before we do our final practice exercise. So if you can read up the practice exercise and work on it and you are good with it, you can just skip watch my next video. Okay, but if you can't, so I hope you stick around and follow me as well with this tutorial. Okay, so we'll start with this. So control flow lets us make decisions in code, and Python checks conditions true or false and runs the correct block. So what it's trying to say is it's like it's many like there's a very good way that you can understand it. If else statements, just like a normal English, if this is correct, then run it. If not, you run the next statement after it, like the elif, or you just do the else or something like that. Okay, I think coding will be more good for this explanation. Okay, so let's say if I have a variable x is not a normal, it's not a good naming variable name, so I'll just maybe I'll just call it variable x like this, because I like naming my variable names very well. So variable x is equals 10. So variable x is equals 10. Then we use our if statement. What it simply does is if variable x is greater than 5, then you see the way I'm writing it. In Python, we don't need curly braces like most programming languages. All we need to do is if, no need for even parentheses around the conditions. Just if, then your condition with a semicolon, then you click on enter. Automatically, most Python text editors help you indent it. But in case they don't, all you need to do is 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 spaces for the indentation, or you can simply do tab and it still works the same way. Okay, so let's say if variable x is greater than 5, we'll print what should we print on the screen? Let's say x is greater than 5, just like this. So if I run this program now, okay, I forgot to zoom in my system, shift alt plus. I think this one is cool. So if variable x is greater than 5, then print this. So you can see variable x is equals 10. It means it's greater than 5. And so if I should run this program like this, shift F10, you see x is greater than 5 right here in our console right here. Okay, but if let's say variable x is 4, so if I run this program now, nothing happens, but it doesn't go out with an error. What it's trying to say is it doesn't meet the if condition. It skips it and moves over to the next thing. Like if there's an else or an elif or anything, but there is no other condition, just the if condition. So it doesn't meet the requirement of the if condition, so it just keeps over. Okay, so the next thing we are going to be going in now is our if and else statements. So it chooses between two options. I'm going to give a different example for this. Let's say we have a user age is equals 16, or 16. So I will now use my if statement to check off for a condition. For instance, I'll say if user age is greater than or equals 18, then don't forget your semicolon, because Python doesn't need curly braces. Then you click enter, it indents for itself. Then we'll print this: you are an adult. So if the user's age is greater than or equals 18, it prints you are an adult. So you'll see the user's age is not 18. So if I run this program, it gives an empty, it prints out an empty line. So to make it not to be empty, we need an else statement. So let's choose between another thing. So to write an else statement, you have to go out of the block. So write else something like else print you are on the 18 or something like this. So the else statement basically is just like the if statement, but is the opposite and it doesn't need a condition. So if this doesn't meet the requirements, it runs the else statement. So if I should run this program again, you see you are under 18. Okay, so that does basically the if and else statement. So if this condition is not true, it runs the else statement. But if it's true, it runs the if statement. So if we just do something like, let's change user's age to 20 like this. So if I should run it, you are an adult. So you say it changes the condition. Now it's printing you an adult because it's greater than or equals 18. So if you don't still understand the comparison operators, I just hope you check out my last tutorial in my Python series. Okay, so moving on, we are going to if elif and else statement. This one is multiple choice. Okay, now the best way to understand this, let's use a grade. Okay, so to make this just a little bit quick, I'll say students. I'll call it students. I like naming my variables very well, so I'll just call it student grade is equals. So what should be the student grade? Let us give the student like an 85. Okay, so what we're going to be doing now is working with if, elif, and else. The elif basically means else if. Okay, so you see what it works as. So if you say if student grade is greater than or equals 90, your an indentation, then you will print a to the console. Okay, then now let's work with an elif statement. Firstly, let me use else to make it more understandable for you guys. So if I use else right here and just give else and print something like needs improvement like this. So if I print something like needs improvement, so if I should run this program, it says what's this? I think I should just increase this a little bit again. Alt Shift plus. Yeah, like this. I think this one will work. So needs improvement. So now for our elif, we have for our elif right here, if elif and multiple choice comment section. So it's print in the console needs improvement right here. Okay, so it's print needs improvement like this down here. So what it basically does is it checks for the if condition. It's up, even though the student grade is 85, it still prints needs improvement. It sounds a little bit weird. So what we need now is an else if statement. So in order to give the user a very good rating in his grade, because the student's grade is 85, but still if I run the program, it still says needs improvement because it doesn't meet 90. Okay, and basically someone with 85 like doesn't really need improvement. It is very great. So what we are going to do now is, after the if statement right here before the else statement, we write an elif. Then it's just the same thing like an if condition. You give it a condition. So I'll say elif student grade student grade sorry student grade is greater than or equals 80 like this. So else if student grade is greater than or equals 80, so we will remember our indentation. We do print so it prints b, so we'll give him a b if it's greater than or equals 80. So let's use another elif statement to stick it to your head. So the thing is, so we use another one, elif student grade is greater than or equals 70, then we'll print maybe this is C. His grade is C. Okay, so that's just basically how to write an if, elif, and else statements, the multiple choices. So the student's grade is initially 85. So if the student grade is greater than or equals 90, it prints A. Elif, else if student grade is greater than or equals 80, it prints B. If student grade is greater than or equals 70, it prints C. Else needs improvement. So if we run this program, what do you think it would print? Look at it very well. Okay, so let's run it. So it prints B. So if you got the answer correctly, you're making progress. So the strength grade is greater than or equals 80, so it prints B. So if I change this grade to 71, what do you think it would print? It would print. Okay, so if I run this program, you see C right here. So if you got the answer correctly, you're making progress. So what do you think this would print? 60, or let me say 30. 30. So if I run this program, it prints needs improvement. And if you got the answer correctly, you're making progress. Okay, so the next one we're going to be looking at is nesting conditions if inside another if. Okay, so this one is just basically an if statement that is inside another if statement. This time for this example, I'll be using a modulus operator for this example. So the thing we're going to do, let's say we have a number, I'll just call it number is equals 12. So as the number is 12, we now use an if statement. So if the number, so we want to ensure that the number is positive, is a positive number. So we say if number is greater than 0, it means it's a positive number. So indentation inside the if statement, we are working with nesting conditions. Then inside the if statement, you can still write another if statement. So this one will be a little bit confusing, but I hope you understand it. So if number is greater than 0, and if number modulus 2 is equals 0. So what this is trying to say basically is that if the number is greater than 0, that means it's an even number. So firstly, we have to check if the number is an even number. Okay, so then we now say if the number modulus 2 is equals to 0, what it means that if my last tutorial we did about modulus, it just gives the remainder. So if the number is divisible by 2, like if the number divided by 2 gives a remainder of 0, that means it's an even number. So I just say that anytime I'm working with modulus, just see the sign as dividing, but it doesn't give the result, it just gives the remainder. So what it's trying to say is if the number divided by 2 gives a remainder of 0, then let's print uh let's print even like this. So it's an even number. Okay, then we now use our else statement inside this if statement. This is what we're calling nesting conditions. So else we'll print something like this. Print odd. Okay, so you say we'll check if it's even, then we will check if it's positive. If it's a positive number, then we'll check if it's even or odd. So then outside our nesting conditions, we need like an else statement that this if statement that is outside the parent if statement will fall back to. What if it's not a positive number that the user derived? So let's go outside. So you go outside your indentation to do this. So we now say else it prints not positive. Okay, so you see basically now our number is equals 12. So if I run this program, think of it, what do you think the output would be? What do you think the output would be? Okay, so if I run this program, you see even. So the output is even. If you got the correct answer, I hope you're making progress. So that's the thing. So if you see even like this, so it's printing even because the number is 12. It first runs this first parent condition and say, oh yeah, the number is it's a positive number, and it enters here and runs this one, and it's odd and it's even. It's the 12 divided by 2 we give a remainder of 0, so it's an even number. So if I change this to 11, so 11 is an odd number. So if I run this, it gives odd. Okay, because it's a positive number but it's odd, so it prints odd. So but if I go to my way and write -1 is not a positive number, so it won't enter inside these nesting conditions right here. It just goes and falls back to this else. Okay, so if I run this, what do you think would be the output? I've already said the answer, so I'll just run it shift F10. So you see not positive because -1 is not positive, so it checks the if condition and it doesn't meet the if condition, so it falls back to this else and runs this not positive because -1 is not positive. So if you got most of the questions right, you're basically good in nesting conditions for now. So the next one we're going to be working on is Boolean expression work inside if statement. So Boolean expression. So what I mean by Boolean expressions are something like this, or, and, or, and not. So these things are like Boolean expressions. Boolean just return like true or false values. So if I should show you, let me give you an instance of what I mean. Okay. So the thing is, let me go this up a little bit. So let's say we have a name. I have a name. I will just call it my name is equals. So I'll put it inside a string Charles like this. Then I'll now say, so I want to use an if statement that works with a Boolean expression. Don't be confused. I'll show you what I'm trying to say. So if my name is equals Charles, if my name is equals Charles, then I'll see or my name is equals. So remember, we are comparison. This is a comparison operator, not an assignment operator. If you change this to equals like this, it gives an error because this is assigning the value. So the thing you're going to be using is this comparison operator. You can check out my last video for it. So if my name is equals Charles, or my name is equals let's say Kevin, like this. My name is actually Kevin, but I don't answer Kevin that much. Okay. So the next thing is so if my name is equals Charles, or my name is equals Kevin, let's print hello friend or something like this. Else let's print uh I don't let's print I don't know you. Okay, so the next thing is, so if you look at this query, I mean not query, like this code, what do you think it would be the output? So I have a variable named my name and its value is Charles. So if my name is equals Charles, or my name is equals Kevin, what do you think would be the output? So if I run this program, if you said hello friend, that means you are going somewhere. Okay, so if you check my last tutorial on comparison on Boolean expressions, or checks for if just one value is true. So if one value is true, it gives the correct results. But if I change this to and needs the two values to be true. So if I should run this, what do you think would be the output? So if I run this like this, you see, I don't know you because my name is not Charles and my name is not Kevin as well. Okay, so that's just basically it. Okay, so and you can work with Boolean expressions with if and else statements again as well. So now the next one before we start our practice would be, I'll just move this thing a little bit up like this. Wait, okay, it can't move again. So checking for duplicate words in a sentence, like here. Checking for duplicate words in a sentence. Have a full tutorial in that. So it will be in our slide 8. So we are going to work on checking for duplicate words in an item in my slide 8, my 8th tutorial series for my Python. So that is it. So you don't have to like worry about how we are going to get through it, because I find finding like duplicate word is very useful, and it also helps you test your more understanding and problem solving skills in Python. So back to our code, checking for duplicate words in a sentence. So I'll just make this brief because as I said earlier, we had like I have a full tutorial on checking for duplicate words. Okay, so the next thing would be, so let's say we have a sentence. I'll just call it sentence. It's understandable that way. So sentence, I'll say maybe the test would be let's say this is a test. This is a, or let me say this is only a test, like this. Okay, so I'm not going to explain much on finding duplicate words in this video. I just want to show you that you can do it with like normal for, so you don't need to understand what I'm doing right now. Okay, I just want to show you that it exists, but I have more tutorials on the checking for a duplicate word, but let's just like do something on it right now. So what I'm going to do is, so I'll save it in a new variable. I'll call it uh what will I give this? I'll call it new sentence, like this is equals. So I'll split this sentence. You don't need to understand it right now, okay? I'll just split the sentence like this. and I will. So what's this basically putting these sentences into a list? Don't worry, I have a full tutorial on a list, and we'll go and we're going to like do it later on in this series. So what I'm going to do now is I'll loop through the list. Don't worry, my next topic will be on loop, so you don't need to like understand these. I just want to show you guys something with if and else statement. Okay, so I'll do for all the all the for all the sentence in new sentence. So for all the sentence, or let me use words. You don't need to understand it, but if you understand it, it's very cool. So, but for all the words in new sentence, then if the words dot count, so it counts all the words. For if the not words, I meant to say, if new sentence dot count is, so what are we going to count? Let's count all the word in the new sentence is greater than 1. So that means it's a duplicated word. So if new sentence dot count is greater than 1, sorry, for words, this words, not word. That's why it's giving an error. So if new sentence dot count word is greater than 1, that means there is words that enter 2 times. That means if it's greater than 1, what will we do? We say we'll print let's use print f for this. And as I said earlier, I don't need to understand it. I'm just showing you guys something that you can do. I said I have a full tutorial on this, so don't stress over it. Okay, so I will say duplicates found like this. Duplicate found in where, let's say, like duplicates found in words. Okay, so now what is basically saying, we have a sentence like this is the test, this is only a test, so we splitted the sentence and now we loop through the sentence. We're going to go into loop later on in this series. Then if the new sentence dot count how many words in the new sentence is greater than 1, then you print duplicates found in words. So if I should run this program, you'll see it said let me reduce this a little bit, alt shift minus like this. So you see duplicates found test, this is a test. So you see it found all the whole duplicate words in the words that came 2 times. So you see the test came 2 times, so it gave out test came here, and test also came out here. So this came out 2 times because this came here and this also came out here. Okay, is came here and same thing here. A came here and here, same thing there. So it counted out all the whole words that were duplicate. So this just like, it's not very cool using something like this, but I said earlier that I have a very good series on finding duplicate word because I think it's very useful. Okay, so now we can work on our practice exercise. Okay, so I'll give you guys a little bit of time to check on the practice exercise yourself. Ask the user for their age. If the age is less than 13, print child. If the age is between 13 and 15, print teenager. And if the age is between 20 and 26, print adult. Then if the age is 65 or above, print senior. Then a bonus, if you want to get an extra mark for it, you have check if the age entered is even or odd. So I'll give you guys time to solve something like this, to solve this code question. Okay, and I hope you did it yourself. And if you got it correctly, and note there are many ways to derive the answer, but I'm going to be using my style to get it. So if you still got the same answer, the same response of all this thing, the same functionality, then you're good to go. But I hope you just check out my own solution. So firstly, what I'm going to do is when I'm writing code, I read the requirements one after the other. So the first thing is ask the user for their age. So I'll name a variable called user age. And so the age I'll call int because I'm typecasting it. You can check out typecasting in my last video. Input, so I'll typecast it, input this. So we are asking for an input, use the input function. Now I'll say enter your age. So first we have hit the first requirement, so we can tick this good. Okay, so we can tick this good. So then now the next thing is if the user's age is less than 13, print child. So what are we going to do? We use our if and if, elif, and else statement. So we are going to be hitting the requirements one after the other. Then if user age is less than 13, we'll print child, just like this. Okay. So the next one we are going to be doing is elif. Then I'll say, so our next requirement is then if the user's age is between 13 and 19, print teenager. So we're going to use now elif statement and say elif user age is uh is less than or equals 19. So what this basically do is, so let's print teenager like this, print teenager. So this one is a very quick way of finding it. Okay, so what we're going to do is if user's age is uh, less than or equals 19, okay, but if that's what our second query is, if user's age is less than 13, print child. Our third requirement, if user's age is between 13 and 19, you can do it like this because it's going to run this condition first before going to something like this. But you can also do something like this. If user's age is equals 13 like this, or user's age is less than or equals 19, then you print teenager. So you can do it like this, but since we are just going to be running the query, this one, the code, this one will run first, so it will check the next condition. So we don't need to write something long like this, okay, but it's still the same thing. It meets the requirement if age is between 13 and 19. Okay, so that's it. So the next requirement we're going to be doing is the next thing would be then I'll go right here and I would print elif age. So the next one is if age is between 20 and 64. So if I do, I'll use another elif statement. As I said earlier, you can also, I'll do less than or equals 64. So what this basically do is it checks if the user's age is less than or equals 64, because since it's running this query, you don't need to check if it's 20, because if it's less than or equals to 19, if it's 20, it just automatically goes to the next code. Okay, so you don't need to like specify it. It's just writing a long unnecessary line of code, but you can still do something like that. So if user's age is less than or equals to 64, we'll print what did they say we should print? Adults. Okay, so we'll print adults like this. So the next code lastly we use our else statement. So if the user's age is 65 or above, print senior. So I would not say else, that means the user's age is 65 and above. The else statement print senior like this. Okay, so now we have this just basically what we need in the first 5 requirements. So for the bonus requirements, I'll just add a comment here and write bonus like this. So for the bonus requirements, we'll just check if user age modulus 2 is equals 0, because they say we should check if the age entered is this is even or odd. So to check for even or odd numbers, we use this modulus operator. So if user's age divided by 2 is giving a remainder of 0, we should print this print this. I'll just use like a normal print f. Let's use the user's age like this. User's age is even like this, even. So then we use our else we now print, let's use print f, and we'll say user's age is odd, just like this. So this is just basically the bonus to check if the user's age is even or odd. So if you see, we met all the whole requirements in this practice exercise. So if you got this yourself, maybe in another way, but it's still cool, then you're very good to go. So if I should run my program, shift F10 right here, enter your age. So I'll just zoom this out a little bit, shift minus like this. Okay, so enter your age. I'll say 20 adults. So they will say adults because my age is 20 and is because if you look at our requirement, they say if age is between 20 and 65, print adult. So you see my age is 20, so it says adult. Okay, so if I should run the program again, let's say I print my age is 9, they'll say child, and 9 is an odd number as well, so you can see it. So that's just basically how our if and else statements work. So you can play around with it and check your understanding of the if and else control flow statements. So if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Remember, your feedback helps me create better content for you all, and see you in the next video.